Hello, greetings. In this guide, we will take a closer look at the Cleave Gladiator. Cleave is one of the simplest melee attacks, available at level 1, it should be familiar to every player. Normally when attacking while wielding two weapons, it is performed in an altering fashion where you switch the weapon with each attack, but here it hits once with 60% of the combined damage of both weapons. We've settled on the Gladiator due to its keystones that enhance the dual-wielding archetype and grant other utilities. Outmatch and Outlast is the source of charges on kill, and bonuses similar to those granted by Frenzy and Endurance charges. Arena Challenger is great for more DPS and mobility. We've pursued the block chance gimmick of Gladiator with its Painforged and Violent Retaliation keystones. These not only grant high block chance but also provide much more physical damage via miscellaneous additions of Violent Retaliation. It's a non-crit precise technique build that deals only physical damage boosted with Impale. We can afford not to pursue the critical strike archetype and instead focus more on the defensive aspects like spell suppression. It's a very tanky build, able to withstand most of the spell and attack hits. Cleave is a simple skill, it deals damage in front of you. It has medium damage effectiveness and attack speed, a very ordinary attack. Its only distinguishing characteristic is the usage of both weapons at the same time, much like the dual strike. With Versatile Combatant you're able to reach a 50% chance to block both types of damage, and that's on top of a very high spell suppression chance and armor. Upgraded by Iron Reflexes, Endurance Charges, Determination, Fortify, and Defiance Banner. Despite the recent buff to its radius, it's still not very good. Without some explosion on kill, the clear speed remains bad. Single target damage is quite good, you're able to face tank most of the bosses with it. The build can run only on rare items, so the price varies from inordinately inexpensive to excessively exorbitant. Unique items are optional. We've used 2 Paradoxica swords because these are usually good and affordable. Ryslotha's coil is the only unique that's definitely better than any rare counterpart. We've included here some other cheap uniques that would help you early on, or ones that would work in some specific scenarios. Devoto's Devotion is a very cheap helmet that can get you a lot of useful offensive modifiers with chaos resistance, movement speed, dexterity, evasion, and armor. It does not grant life or elemental resistances. On a Paradoxica look for modifiers for increased physical damage, increased attack speed, increased damage per endurance or frenzy charge, chance to deal double damage, and accuracy rating. It's not very expensive but can still be comparable in damage to a good rare weapon. Ferul's Fur is one of the best armors for melee builds. It makes aspect of the Cat Reserve no mana, provides you with constant power and frenzy charges, a lot of maximum life, and phasing. You can go for the replica version too, it will be even slightly better for this build. Just be sure that you have the aspect of the cat suffix somewhere. Ryslotha's coil is by far the best belt, it gets you not only a lot of damage but also maximum life, and that's all you need. Remember to look only for ones with good rolls. If you happen to get a copy of Yule Nettle's Vow Amulet with high rolls, or ones that won't hamper your resistances, you can use it to accommodate one extra support gem, like Close Combat. Impresence can be good if you're using one Blasphemous Vulnerability aura. Full power version which drops from double Uber Elder can be used to cast one extra curse for free in the same fashion. It has good stats but provides you with no resistances. Maddening Presence slows down and reduced damage of the enemies nearby. Brutal Restraint can be used for extra dexterity and additional modifiers for notables in its radius. Some of them can be very useful. For the same reason, you can use Lethal Pride instead. Forbidden Flame and Forbidden Flesh is a welcomed addition. Nearly all duelists' keystones, especially that of a Slayer, are great, and it'd take too much time to list them all here. We've used Fortitude for permanent fortify. Your auras are Pride and Determination. Impales you inflict last 2 additional hits while using Pride, is by far the best modifier to look for on a Watcher's Eye. It is a precise technique build, meaning you won't deal critical strikes, and your accuracy must always be higher than the maximum life for the damage bonus. Most of the items, if not all of them, are of rare quality. It allows you to easily cap elemental or even chaos resistances and gain extra spell suppression. We've decided to use swords and not axes. If you happen to find good axes you can use them, but it would alter the skill tree. A regular helmet can provide a lot of maximum life, resistances, accuracy rating, and spell suppression chance. These are the most valued modifiers to look for. You can get a rare sword with a lot of physical DPS. There seems to be no limit on how good a weapon you can craft. Look for increased or added physical damage, attack speed, and accuracy rating. The basic maximum life and elemental resistances are the most important. You can get a lot of them on a body armor. Extra curse, explosions, and spell suppression chance are also very good. Boots are very basic. Just get the movement speed, life, resistances, and some extra modifier like the freeze immunity or onslaught on kill. Gloves can grant you maximum life, resistances, accuracy rating, attack speed, and damage. Spiked gloves could be good here, these increase your melee damage. If you can't afford good Ryslotha's coil yet, just get a Stygian vice or leather belt with a lot of maximum life and elemental resistances. Rare amulet is the most common choice. It has a huge variety of modifiers, and a lot of them are very useful. Maximum life, resistances, accuracy, and added damage are frequent and easy to obtain. For the luxurious mods, seek increased mana reservation efficiency for pride and reduced mana cost of skills. Use rings for life, resistances, accuracy, added physical damage, and vulnerability on hit if you prefer to have it cast automatically. Steel or vermilion ring would be the best here. Life, resistances, accuracy, or specific modifiers for added or increased physical damage can be found on regular jewels. There are tons of notables to get from a large cluster jewel. You're looking for a 6-node one with a base increasing sword damage, physical damage, attack damage, or attack damage while dual wielding. Flasks. Lion's Roar is a granite flask you can use for more physical damage and to knock enemies back on hit. Very useful. For your other flasks, we recommend a life one with instant life on use, a quicksilver flask for movement speed, a basalt flask for increased armor, a silver flask for onslaught, a sulfur flask for consecrated ground and damage, or a quartz flask for phasing and spell suppression chance. These should remove freeze or bleeding on use, or increase your armor and attack speed via suffix. Now for the skill gems. Link your cleave with melee physical damage, brutality, pulverize, impale, and multi-strike support gems. You could also accommodate close combat support by removing pulverize or multi-strike, but that's up to you. The damage stays almost unchanged. Molten Shell is a guard spell that mitigates a portion of incoming hit damage for some time. It scales up with your armor. We recommend the anomalous version, especially if your armor is high. Blood Rage grants life leech, frenzy charges on kill, and increases attack speed. It drains your life over time. Link these two with enhanced support if you have one. The Ancestral Totem setup is what most melee builds use. Ancestral Warchief grants more melee damage, Ancestral Protector, more attack speed. Link these to multiple totem support to place 3 totems for both ancestral bonuses, and maim. Maimed enemies receive more physical damage and are slowed down. Pride makes nearby enemies take increased physical damage. This effect is doubled after 4 seconds. Blood and Sand allow you to switch between having more area of effect and less area damage and vice versa, depending on the stance. Determination adds more and increases your armor. Link these spells to Enlighten support for increased mana reservation efficiency. After getting hit, Vengeance has a 40% chance to deal damage to all nearby enemies, but can't be used manually. Link it with Rage support to generate Rage passively. Rage increases your attack speed, movement speed, and attack damage. Leap Slam is a great movement tool to move faster and jump over obstacles. You can also use Dash, but it doesn't hit and won't be able to apply curses via Hextouch. Vulnerability makes a cursed enemy take increased physical damage. If you're able to apply this curse via Ring Affix, put the faster attack support here instead. Link these with Hextouch and Life Tap support so as to not spend any mana on it. Defiance banner increases armor and evasion. Nearby enemies have reduced critical strike chance. You should kill all 3 bandits for the 2 extra passive skill points. All major gods can be good here. We've picked Soul of Lunaris since it grants some defenses in crowded areas and against projectiles after upgrading it, which is useful for a slow melee character. Soul of Gruthkul is a good minor god for face-tanking rapid attacks. It will reduce physical damage taken. You could also use the other gods to take less damage over time. Here on the passive skill tree, we've focused mostly on maximum life, physical damage with swords and dual wielding, spell suppression, block chance, and accuracy rating. Most of the useful nodes can be found on the outermost ring. For the keystones, pick precise technique, iron reflexes, and versatile combatant. For masteries, pick increased damage for each aura as reservation mastery, defiance banner reservation as armor and evasion mastery, elusive on block from dual wield mastery, reduced enemy chance to block sword attacks as sword mastery, extra accuracy from dexterity as accuracy mastery, and increased damage per chance to block as block mastery. You can also find determination reservation efficiency or more maximum life masteries useful. If you don't have enough chance to impale, pick forceful skewering. We've also allocated marked for death and mark mastery since in our case we could apply 2 curses, the second one being the poacher's mark. That is all for this video. We'd be happy to see you liking it or subscribing to the channel. Thank you, and see you in the next one.